thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Thursday, May 9th, and today is National Homefront Heroes Day. Shout out to all those Homefront heroes. Oh, Rico, this is for you, bro. It's also National Alphabet Magnet Day, because everyone loves to spell.
I got all kinds of alphabet magnets on my fridge.
I know. Everyone likes to spell bad words with the alphabet magnets on the fridge. Yeah, see? It's also National Sleepover Day. National Butterscotch Brownie Day.
Ooh, great for a sleepover.
Mm-hmm. National Moscato Day for all you lushes out there. and Rico, it's also National Lost Sock Memorial Day. So we need to memorialize all of the lost socks that the dryer and washing machine have eaten up over the years.
Just throw them in the hamper when you're done with them. Quit being lazy.
Man, is that what you do with them? Oh, yes. Oh, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And kicking it off today, that's right, he's on time today. And apparently he's having a bad hair day because he does have a hat on. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Hathead Rico Lamitte.
You really think that's gonna get to me, right?
I'm just saying. I just can't believe that you tried to say that. You know. I don't
have bad hair days, bro. Come on, you say that. Look, it's 40 years of no baldness.
40 years
man.
of no baldness, bro.
Genes are strong.
I know the feeling.
This of struggling to keep it from happening.
I got someone that can help you with that, Tony. If you need some help, it's easy peasy.
Oh man.
I have. Then I'm gonna tell you about later.
All right.
Okay. Shout out to Hims. So
that guy's getting canceled.
My story today is we got some economic numbers that came out. According to new data from a report released by the Marijuana Policy Project, $4 billion in recreational cannabis tax revenue was hauled in by the IRS in 2023 alone, the most ever generated in a single year, bringing an all-time revenue total since legal markets have opened over a decade ago to $20 billion with a B.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the days when numbers like that were just abstract projections that everyone took with a grain of salt, and here we are. Way ahead of projected numbers back in the day. And Marijuana Moments' Kyle Yeager points out that is despite the fact that revenue in several major states, such as Colorado and Nevada, declined last year. But new and evolving state markets more than made up the difference, and that the trend is expected to continue as additional legalization laws are implemented soon in places such as Delaware and Ohio. Karen O'Keefe, Director of State Policies at MPP, said that in a press release, state legal cannabis sales continue to provide significant economic benefits, with over $20 billion generated in adult use cannabis tax revenue since the first sales began. The legal cannabis industry is providing much needed funding for crucial services and programs in states across the country. And additionally, the implementation of adult use cannabis markets has spurred significant job growth, creating hundreds of thousands of new employment opportunities, along with thousands of small businesses. Yeager said that the report focuses on adult use marijuana taxes and does not account for revenue generated from sale of medical cannabis, which is now legal in 38 states. Also absent from the report was sales from the trap. A quick trip to high9news.com will give you the full rundown, the full list of state-by-state totals, but a few notable ones I picked out. California, obviously in the big lead with $1.08 billion total. Colorado, not really that good. They only had 256 million. They were eclipsed by Illinois with 552 million, and Michigan 473 million, and New York a paltry 21 million, even though analysts were predicting early on that they'd be eclipsing over 100 million in the first year. So what does this mean to us? Yeah, it's cool if you're an investor or just a data geek like myself that loves digging into these numbers and trying to figure out the underlying trends and angles that drive the numbers. But this is the kind of reporting news and that moves legislation one way or the other. The fact that legal cannabis industry has brought in $20 billion in tax revenue over the last 10 years, despite remaining federally illegal, is no small feat at all. Back in 1992, former Democratic strategist and Clinton campaign chair and current political commentator James Carville famously said, "It's all about the economy, stupid." When asked about the campaign's focus should be, where his campaign's focus should be going forward, and the phrase has remained relevant in evaluating where the majority of American voters' interests really lie. With the optics surrounding today's economy, despite the numbers showing us different and everything's on the up and up, polls have shown that one of President Joe Biden's biggest weaknesses is on the economy. I think that if Biden wants to make good on any of the promises made prior to 2022 election regarding cannabis, an easy way to move more of the conservative minds on the issue would be pointing to data sets like these instead of giving all that lip service to and pretending to care about the failed war on drugs prisoners of war. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear the rest of the team's take on this one. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. $20 billion federal tax revenue officially in the bank. Does it even matter?
You know what it is, Rico? This is straight theft. The government has basically fleeced $20 billion from the people that burn cannabis. That's what this is. This is a fleecing article.
Finesse.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I think
go ahead.
I'd like to know how much revenue they spend in enforcing against cannabis operations, because that doesn't see the light of day.
That's a good point.
You're going to make all this money. Here's the tax money. How much do they spend in enforcing this? Because you could take that out of the revenue picture and add it into other programs, but the cops don't want to talk about that because it still costs money to enforce. And I think the industry is happy to pay for what it costs to go out and license and check and enforce, and even lower those law enforcement costs that no one wants to talk about right now.
I was going to say
EA's dragging their feet.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that if they made $20 billion, because I always think that it's probably a lot more, and they're hiding it from you. And in this case, I would say that it's that. But also, what Dale touched on, what about the money that was also raised in and around it? You know what I mean? Like the sectors in and around it, like in law enforcement, like people who sell merchandise, papers, bongs, you know what I mean? Like everything else. I think that might just be the sales of marijuana sales, but what about the actual merchandise and everything else? I think that it is a lot more than that. And I don't think that they got the total up of everything tax-wise that they actually got. And maybe, I'm sure that they would know, because they're really trying to figure out how they can really fleece this, because they realize they just fleeced over $20 billion and no one had their heads up.
Yeah, construction materials. There's all different kinds of ways that you can follow the money on this one, but these are easy numbers to point to. Like, even if you don't care about people, even if you don't care about the medicine side of it, this is making a lot of money, and this money is going to the IRS, biggest thieves in the history of this country.
It's going to the centralized bank.
Oh boy.
It ain't going to us. That's for
it's
damn
definitely
sure.
not going to us. And we just got fleeced for $20 billion as the cannabis community overall, as far as I'm concerned, by our government, because we are getting taxation without representation, just for the simple fact that it's a Schedule I drug and has not been descheduled. And I'm not buying any of this bullshit about this rescheduling hype hindrance that is happening across all of the country.
Facts. What do you think, Elise?
I think it could have been even more money.
You think it could have been more?
Yeah, imagine if we actually had full, decriminalization.
Well, if we
were taxing it all over the country, they'd have even more money.
Now I'm confused into this article, Rico. Is this just revenues that state governments have brought in from the sale of cannabis, or does this include the 280E money that the IRS collects?
It just said revenue generated by legal cannabis.
Okay,
sales.
revenue generated by. So this means that that's a collection of what the municipalities have collected across the country, not what the IRS has taken from all of these businesses under 280E.
I want to know that number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Me too.
that's why I understood it.
Yep. This is just a drop in the bucket, bro. This is just the peanut gallery money right here.
You would think too, with that much money, that this would be a thriving industry. It's fucking.
Well, no, it's because they're taking all the money out of the industry. That's why it's not thriving. It's because they're just sucking all the lifeblood out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why they don't want to move fast on this shit. They have no way of replacing that money.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And on that, we're gonna roll right into a commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California, with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
We're back, Rico.
Coming to stage next, High at 9 News' head honcho, the dad of the crew, who has lost about 400 pounds over the last couple of months, and I'm very, very proud of him.
70
Coming
plus.
to the stage.
70 plus, Rico.
Jason Beck.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. Stone, I have a story that's going to be very upsetting for you, okay? I don't want you to get triggered or anything, okay? Because a state debates a ban on legal weed light. Scott City considers its own move, you guys. And Illinois lawmakers debate banning sales of Delta 8, a legal cousin to the euphoria-causing chemical in marijuana. The police chief of this Scott County city hopes his town won't wait. That's right. Chief Steve Doolin worries that Delta 8-infused gummies, candies, and other items popping up at gas stations could become a precursor to marijuana use. Although Delta 8 products can produce a similar high, it is not as intense as marijuana that has earned its name, such as Diet Pot and Weed Light. Unlike marijuana, which contains Delta 9 THC, it is also not against federal law or regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. In a quote, "If you see the packaging and stuff, it's geared to grab kids' attention, and we don't like that," Doolin said. The Journal of American Medical Association reported that more than 11% of high school seniors say they use Delta 8 products, and the FDA said it has been receiving reports of adverse events from Delta 8 THC use, including hallucinations, anxiety, confusion, and loss of consciousness. Well, that's called going to sleep, you guys. National Poison Control Centers relieved more than 2,300 Delta 8 related calls back in 2022, according to the FDA. And Doolin said he has provided city council members with information about the substance. Some had asked him about it after 2 people were arrested for breaking into a convenience store in town to steal Delta 8 products. Oh man, life's rough for them. They don't, in quotes, they don't have any knowledge of what this stuff is and what it does. So I was just providing that information to them, he said. Doolin told council members some cities in Illinois, such as Antioch, ban stores with tobacco and liquor licenses from selling Delta 8 products. And in another quote, I don't believe that would be a fair thing to do, but it was an example to get the discussion started, he said. Illinois legislators have been debating how to close a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized production and sale of CBD products with less than 0.3 THC percent, and 17 states have moved to ban Delta 8. 7 others have severely restricted such products, and Senate Bill 3926 would subject Illinois businesses caught selling Delta 8 products to fines up to $10,000. Efforts are getting support from groups including the Cannabis Business Association of Illinois, which said unregulated products are causing people to get sick and are targeting young people. Sounds like they're just trying to be prohibitionists and keep all the money coming into their stores, but nonetheless. Executive Director Tiffany Ingram, speaking last month at a news conference in Springfield, displayed a table filled with snacks and candies she said were trying to mimic popular snacks. State Representative Ava Dina Delgado, Democrat from Chicago, told Capital News Illinois that her 15-year-old daughter has said Delta 8 products are easily accessible to teens. And in a quote, as a parent, there is nothing more scary than to hear stories from your child about how kids are greening out. Slang for a cannabis overdose, which includes symptoms such as vomiting and feeling faint, she told the news service. And when asked her question like, hey, are these kids getting the supply from their parents? She says, oh, no, we just go to the corner store, they say. Well, man, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this and this Delta 8 hysteria and the fact that I don't think these governments can actually regulate Delta 8 because it's not included in the Farm Bill. But nonetheless, I'm going to digress and see what y'all have to say. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. Stone Slade, are you going to travel to Illinois?
Oh, Jason Beck, God bless you, buddy. You know how I feel about Delta 8. That never should have jumped the line. On one side of me is laughing because this loophole was created, but the plant never should have been illegal to begin with. Mm-hmm. You guys have forced these farmers to go out and do this shit, and now all this stuff is flooding the market, and it's bad all around. Mm-hmm. For us as a whole, as an industry, Delta 8's horrible for cannabis, and the loophole's horrible for cannabis.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking last Friday with Dr. Mark and Dr. Gene Talleyrand, and how my interpretation of it is that the reason that they're having a hard time grappling with Delta 8 is because Delta 8 is not actually included in the Farm Bill. It's a total compound all by itself, and because it does not naturally occur in the plant, the Farm Bill cannot regulate it. Right,
and it would never have been created had this plant been available to us from the get-go.
All they gotta do is call up Warren G and pray to Nate Dogg, the ghost Nate Dogg.
Regulate.
Oh boy, the regulators.
Mount up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on this, Tony?
No. Because
okay.
I mean, you got to think about it like this, right? Look, all right. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm not a fan of Delta 8. Mm-hmm. I take that into that of being like a bootleg Louis Vuitton purse. You know what I mean? Like you don't let someone sell a bootleg Louis Vuitton purse. You should never let anyone sell bootleg marijuana. I didn't like when they had the K2 thing. I thought that was ridiculous
crazy.
too as well.
That was then the spice and the spice and
it's
all
like,
of that. Yeah.
Anything to just change what God has already created, I think is just ridiculous. So I'm okay with them going after all the Delta 8. It should be totally legal. If you see someone smoking Delta 8, this should be an automatic year in prison and should have to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I was hoping after I stepped on your THCA toes last week that I wasn't doing that with Delta 8, Tony.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute, you guys.
No, I was on Delta 8.
Boof Proof.
I was on Delta 8.
Boof Proof in the chat, he says all packages should have a picture of the governor. No kids would be interested in that, he says.
Right.
What do you think about that? I mean, would you just call all the vape pens?
Let's not go there.
Well, would you call all the vape pens just dipsticks at that point, Rico?
Let's not go there talking about it.
Wow.
I know where he's going with the picture of the governor's shit.
Oh,
Isn't this another thing too, though? Weren't they referencing packages that had on like the fake Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops? Like those are all trap packages anyway, so those aren't even coming from reputable hemp people.
Yeah, but but Delta 8 can do that. They're not subject to any of those rules. They can do.
Yeah, they have like colors, flashy colors, and stuff like that could kind of grab the eyes of kids. You're marketing something that's cool. If you're marketing something to an adult, trust me, the package doesn't really have to be extravagant at all. They just tell the adult what it is, and the adult's gonna buy it.
Tony, I have a question.
Look at wine.
I have a question, Tony.
How many people buy wine off of the label on the wine bottle?
I have a question, Tony. If they're flashing,
people do.
If they're flashing colors, wouldn't they be marketing more to gang members than to kids?
This guy.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think
this guy's
a bullshit argument. I think it's over-regulation. Open up the market rather than creating like more regulatory measures around it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like if you have more access to good weed and you have more education surrounding these products and what they are, what they're not, and who should be getting access to them, you won't have any issues like this, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like kids have been sneaking behind liquor stores and buying liquor, buying beer.
Kids have been steering weed from their parents' little cabinet all their whole life.
Yeah, kids. If you're badass kids are gonna get into some shit, they're gonna get into some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like whether it's Delta 8, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's beer, like whatever it is, they will get into it. So I feel like this is a scapegoat. It's a straw man argument, and it just means nothing. Fuck regulation.
Oh, shout out!
A father that always had the best. I feel sorry for the kids these days that are stealing their parents' Delta 8.
Man, what do you?
Yeah, parents should go to jail if your kids are stealing your Delta 8.
Yeah. Shout out!
How dare you pass that on to the next generation?
Oh man, you guys are funny. We're gonna keep
horrible ethics.
We're gonna keep this train rolling. We're gonna roll right into Mr. Attorney at Law, Mr. Dale Schafer. He's the founder of Armada Law Practice, and at one point in time did some time for a cannabis crime, but at the same time, he is a one-time felon that did not do no telling. That's right. And here to tell it like it is, it's T.O. Loco himself, Mr. Dale Schafer.
Jason,
good morning, everybody. Just to be clear, I shut my mouth, rode my beef, and came back out with my head up. Okay. The story I've got this morning comes out of Law 360, and it involves just basic fraud. And as I read through this case, it sort of reinforced in my mind why I'm retiring from litigation. Because I'm tired of dealing with lying sacks of shit.
Oh boy!
Okay? So what happened here is that this is a California case, and we have somebody who fleeced somebody out of $14 million, something like that, and we have, and I'm going to assume these gentlemen are Chinese because they got names like Yao and Gu and things like that. I don't say that as a pejorative. I'm saying that I screw up names like this, so I'm not even going to try. We have a gentleman by the name of Mr. Yao who owned a company, I think Fireleaf, and that company owned another one called Lulu. And Mr. Yao was flush enough he could write a $12 million check. And another gentleman by the name of Mr. Gu, who owns a company, I think CADM, something like that, claimed he owned 7 cannabis facilities here in California, and that he needed $12 million because his management company, he didn't like them. They were taking 30%, but he had borrowed $12 million from them, so he needed $12 million to pay them off. And then he would put Mr. Yao in a position to manage all of these companies. It was a 1-year note, and you're going to make, I don't know how many millions of dollars in the first year, and you get your money back, and blah, 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 blah. If it sounds too good, your mama should have told you it's bullshit. It sounded real good and turned out to be bullshit. So Mr. Yao writes the $12 million check. He gets access to one facility, and he starts asking questions about who owns all this stuff. And that's where it really got kind of slippery, because Mr. Gu admitted, I'm not a citizen. So I've got people who are owning all these companies for me because I'm not a citizen. I got to be off the books. Let me tell you, as an attorney, as soon as you hear that, get in your car and drive away as fast as you can, because this person's about to take whatever money they can get from you. And I've dealt with straw men before. In California, if you own, operate, manage, direct, control any cannabis company, you got to step up, be live scanned, and be on paper. If someone's telling you, I can't be on paper, somebody else owns it for me, and that kind of horse shit is hard to get over. Anyway, apparently Mr. Yao got beyond that. I don't know if he went and asked the landlords or anybody, but he started into this, and apparently this guy, Mr. Wu, sent somebody in to poison his crop, blame the crop failure on Mr. Yao, and then it just got worse from there. Well, eventually, this guy, Mr. Yao, said, I've had it. He sued him. And as I read the complaint, one of the first things I noticed, it was the 5th amended complaint. Okay? And I like to be in front of a jury. I hate pleading wars. But what this told me is that there was a pleading war going on here. It got 5 amended complaints before it got to a jury. Anyway, a jury found that Mr. Gu and the guy who ran the management company, they'd all committed fraud. They breached contracts. And there was a whole bunch of other complaints. They were found liable in order to pay back a total of almost $20 million, okay? So here's where it gets kind of frightening for attorneys, is because once that verdict was announced, you only have 15 days to file certain motions. And immediately after the verdict was announced, the attorney representing Mr. Yao substituted out and a new one substituted in. Well, the defendant apparently didn't get the memo because he served the motions on the wrong attorney. And that's a death knell for for attorneys. If you don't serve everybody in a timely fashion, you're done. And so when the judge looked at this, he goes, first of all, you fucked up and served the wrong people. You're not a timely motion, so you're done. I'm throwing it out. But if we take a look at your bullshit arguments, they were even more laughable. They claim that, you can't get these kind of damages from a corporation because they're not a person. And as Jason well knows, corporations are people.
Yeah, they are.
In the eyes of the law. And then they said, a couple of these businesses actually exist in Riverside County and not L.A., and so you don't have jurisdiction. The judge laughed. He goes, no, the contract's here. People are here. It's supposed to be executed in L.A. Get out of here. Okay. And as I'm reading what they're bringing up, it's nonsense. This is an attorney throwing mud against a wall, hoping to overturn a $20 million verdict. I don't know if he screwed up when they were trying this case, but watching the post-trial motions and what these guys are throwing out, it makes me laugh, okay? And it makes me glad I'm getting out of this, because I rely on paralegals and associates to make sure they file and serve the proper people and do all this stuff. And, human beings are fallible. So let me just back up to 30,000 feet and tell you that if somebody comes at you asking for money and they tell you that, look, I can't be on paper because I got this or that problem, my advice to you is run. As fast as you can, stay the hell away from these people, because straw men are not allowed in the cannabis industry. Because it's still not fully legal, every local, state, and federal government wants to know, who the hell are you and how are you involved in this? And if you're not willing to step up, stay away from these people. Okay? So big cautionary tale. If you're going to be investing money in the cannabis industry, do your due diligence. And don't accept people's nonsensical horseshit stories. So I'm throwing it back at you guys. What do y'all think about this?
Man, Dale. They lost a $20 million lawsuit because of this, Dale?
They did, yeah.
$20 million.
Got their ass kicked right between their elbows,
Now, question, would they have any recourse to file a malpractice lawsuit against that attorney for his filing?
Oh, absolutely. Problem is, how do you prove damages? Because you lost the trial.
Well,
and then the judge went beyond
that
saying,
is the damages. That is the damages right there. You lost the trial because of their misfiling.
No, the judge said, okay, you fucked up and misfiled, but let's go beyond that and look at your nonsensical arguments, and they don't hold water, okay?
Remember,
the judge basically took their damages away.
The judge said that they're not, the corporation isn't a person. And remember, he said, but Jason knows the corporation is a person.
They are a people.
Corporations
are people too.
No, the defendant tried to say that, Tony, and the judge
said no. Yeah, the judge said no.
Yeah, he laughed at him, which he should.
He should. Of course he should. I would laugh at people too when they try to say that.
Well, it's been a long time since the 1880s, I think, when the United States Supreme Court first said a corporation is a person. That one it's got cobwebs on it. It's just so old, so that don't work. And why you would go into court making that argument, it's like, how'd you pass the bar exam if you put bullshit like that into a pleading in front of a judge? It just makes me chuckle.
I mean, Mitt Romney said that too, Dale. Don't forget about that one.
Because it comes from the finance industry. That's one of the first things they teach you when you're taking that Series 7 exam. Corporations are people.
Look at that with that little financial law right there.
They're not individuals, and that's how you differentiate, but they're people.
Yeah.
They're people. They are the people. And on that, and
they have all the attributes of humans: lying sacks of shit, wonderful people, everything in between.
Just the EIN number, though. Just EIN numbers, though. No social security numbers, Dale. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
All right, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, I know we'll appreciate it, you'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show will be up on the website in about an hour or so, and so make sure that you check them out there. I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla, and if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're gonna smoke, because we're gonna get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla. We're back, Rico.
Can we please get a button? Can we get a Smoky Vanilla button on the soundboard, on the internal soundboard, please, Adam?
We'll work on that.
Thank you. So, when the great purple state of Texas decided Delta 8 dab sessions were the future, Stone Slade, according to Jason Beck, moved to Illinois. Y'all know who it is, coming back, hitting the high road as he always does, because he is the host of the show with the same damn name. And he's crazy with the pen on the graphics too. Check out those shirts. Are they available yet?
No, Stone, not yet. Not yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Not yet.
Okay. We're getting close.
We're getting there, bro.
Getting ahead of myself there, but coming to the stage, y'all know who it is. The man, Stone Slade.
Thank you, Rico. Thank you, sir. Coming up next is our What About the Kids story of the week. Virginia health authorities have set their sights on tracking the impact of cannabis consumption in children. With the legalization of cannabis possession for adults back in July of 2021, it's clear that the state sees the need to monitor the potential risks of THC and CBD may pose to younger individuals. This new surveillance system by the Virginia Department of Health will keep a close eye on the cannabis-related incidents involving children. Since legalization, more than 500 cases of cannabis ingestion have been reported in children, up from just 150 cases in 2020. Dr. Chris Hostelage, who directs the Blue Ridge Poison Center at the University of Virginia, noted that many of these kids are inadvertently consuming THC-infused edibles disguised as innocent-looking candy. He emphasized that protecting public safety should be a priority given the rising accessibility of cannabis edibles. He says, we want to make sure that these products are being sold. We're selling them in the best way possible to keep the public safe, both adults and children. The governor, Glenn Youngkin, vetoed a bill earlier this year that would have created a regulated cannabis market. He said, the proposed legalization of retail marijuana in the Commonwealth endangers Virginians' health and safety. Attempting to rectify the error of decriminalizing marijuana by establishing a safe and regulated marketplace is an unachievable goal. Virginia's authorities are urging healthcare professionals to report any cases of cannabis-related hospitalization among minors or cluster cases impacting multiple children. This is part of the new initiative, which also invites the public to use an online portal to report such adverse effects. Users are prompted to share detailed information about the products, such as packaging, purchase date, and place of purchase. This new system is rooted in the VA Code Section 8, requiring reporting of suspected or confirmed cases of diseases and effects to state authorities. The goal is to gather vital data to better understand how products containing THC and CBD affect children. But it's not all about tracking the impact. Dr. Hostelage had highlighted the importance of transparency in labeling to ensure people know precisely what they're purchasing, particularly given the concern over undisclosed substances like Delta-9 THC, which is legal in Virginia's marketplace. Dr. Hostelage went on to say, it's also a question of if they're selling CBD products, is there other substances in there, other cannabinoids like Delta-9 and THC? On top of his surveillance effort, the Division of Consolidated Laboratory Services will provide testing services to help determine exactly what's in those products. Now, as far as my take on the matter, sure, it's concerning that kids are getting into these products, but this feels like we're seeing a cocktail of factors at play here. The problem isn't that cannabis edibles look like candy. No, this is part propaganda, stirring up hysteria, part poor parenting, leaving things out for little hands to grab, and 100% a lack of proper education on cannabis from top to bottom. The governor, who's against decriminalizing cannabis, is clearly a prohibitionist, and his boneheaded move to veto a bill that would have regulated the retail sale of cannabis products only worsens matters. His statement alone, where he said, attempting to rectify the error of decriminalizing marijuana by establishing a safe and regulated marketplace is an unachievable goal. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. This is exactly what you need to do now. You've decriminalized, so now why wouldn't you not want to establish a safe and regulated marketplace? We need to standardize how the plant is presented to consumers and make sure the message gets through to lawmakers, parents, and children alike. Without proper information, the situation remains muddy, and kids will continue to stumble upon treats that are much more than sugary sweets. Don't be a dumbass. Lock up your stash because your careless stupidity only helps the Kevin Sabets of the world. I'm Stone Slade reporting for the High at 9 News.
Oh, Rico, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, Rico, your home state.
Yeah.
It's more Virginia bullshit coming from your boy, Glenn Youngkin.
Glenn Youngkin, that's right.
And I love how Happy Glass put in the comments here. They ain't tracking Tylenol, sickness and deaths.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure that they track it.
You gonna let people track your kids all around the world?
The CDC tracks all of this stuff. Like when you call in a complaint for your kids.
This is a perfect example. I think this is a perfect candidate for that slippery slope argument. Right, like kids are going to the hospital for what? Like, should you not be tracking every time kids go to the hospital? Like whether they slip up or they crash their bike, whatever. Like you're gonna take away that bike? No, you can be tracking these parents. That's what they're getting to, man. And that's what I see long term. They're going to be tracking the parents, and they're going to try to attack the parents.
Oh, they're definitely going to do that.
If any of these kids.
They're definitely going to do that.
You're going to have people just stop taking their kids to the doctor because you're going to think people are going to be tracking you. It's going to cause paranoia. So it's more bullshit coming from Glenn Youngkin. That's my thoughts.
Any thoughts on this, Tony? Elise, you guys.
I think that the where these people fail at is they're always trying to tell you what you can't do and instead of, I believe, trying to figure out how you can allow responsible adults to be able to govern their own households, create legislation that punishes the parents as derelict in duty. And when your kid is using your stuff and it's found that you're not putting it in a proper place, you're not educating your kids on why it's not important for them, if you're not doing it in a way where your kids don't really understand, it can be like a cigarette or not even. Some people don't even smoke cigarettes around their children. But instead of them trying to work with the actual people who are giving them money, giving them opportunity to feed their families, they just all around. I just think that they continue to drop the ball. There's always an excuse. There's always going to be an excuse. When you hear stuff like this, there's no wonder why. There's always somebody who's going to say, but your people are doing this on this side.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like we need to just say, make parenting great again, and we need to drop all this nanny state BS that's happening from both sides.
Well, I think
what happened to no seatbelts?
A kid can, take their parent's gun, or, how many kids die because of guns, and no one's trying to take those away. But, oh, God forbid,
they
these,
shouldn't.
plant-based edibles
they shouldn't
are so dangerous.
Take guns away.
No, don't take no guns away.
Yeah, no.
I'm not saying that we should. I'm just saying it's ridiculous that they want to take away our weed. And
I agree.
I'm pretty sure more kids go to the hospital or die over guns than weed, is all I'm going to say.
Most definitely.
I don't know. I don't know about all that. I don't know about.
Yeah, I would say alcohol poisoning probably kills.
Yeah, I would say probably more alcohol poisoning and even chemicals underneath the sink type of thing probably kills.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah. I don't think that. I don't think that kids is just going around just indiscriminately shooting each other outside of one particular place I can think of.
Yeah.
Really? We don't have a mass shooting issue in schools?
Mass shooting means anything more than 3, just for a clear definition, okay? Because it's a high term.
And we're talking about something that doesn't happen like every day. When you say, okay, look, over 700,000 people die every year from pharmaceutical mishaps, meaning there are drugs that is produced that ultimately unalives people. Mm-hmm. And it's up to 700,000 people every year. This is an average. We can't say that about firearms in terms of children taking them from their parents' house in the house and just offing their neighbor or something like that, because it is nowhere near an equivalent.
Not even close. Not even close.
It's easier to get it done in some states than it is to get weed for a kid.
Say that again,
Elise. And the statement she made was that more kids die from guns than cannabis, which is 100% true.
But it would have to be, though, Stone, towards their parents' gun, because we're talking about someone getting their parents' weed. So it's not like we're saying, because we're not just saying kids going to get weed from the weed man, we're saying from their parents. So that means that kids would have to use their parents' gun. Go, hey, neighbor, bang, that's it. Like, I'm saying that's...
Still, more kids have died from that than cannabis.
Of course, no one dies from cannabis.
No one dies from cannabis. No one's died from cannabis. We all agree.
No one dies from cannabis.
That's cute. That's cute, Stone. I see what you're doing there, Stone. I see what you're doing there. That's not really what she was saying, but that's cute.
That is what I was saying. We all agree.
No. We all don't agree. Just
I don't know.
Okay.
It's okay. You can say that she was right. We can move on.
I think you guys get caught up on some BS. Like, I never said I was trying to take anyone's gun away. I'm just saying that I think it's ridiculous that certain parties are more concerned about taking away or blocking access to cannabis and claiming that that's more dangerous than the accessibility to guns. And I will say it again, that in some states, it is far easier for a child to access a firearm or a gun than cannabis. And that's
probably only because their parents don't smoke, though, Elise.
I mean, we were just talking about a story where you can get Delta 8 at a gas station. So apparently you can get these scary drugs and things anyway. And that's the problem for people.
In Illinois,
an adult at a gas station would still have to sell it to the minor.
Oh boy, you guys are.
I feel you, Elise.
Yeah, we do. We feel you, Elise. Your heart's in the.
We got your back, sis. I feel what you're saying. I understand.
Your heart's in the right place.
We got you.
We love it.
You're not saying ban the guns. You're saying I get you. We got you.
I love guns.
Yeah, she loves. Rico, we're gonna keep this train. We're gonna keep this train.
Even the most ardent gun prohibitionists, once you shoot a gun, man, your mind changes a little bit.
You popping off.
Try it.
Yeah,
just try it.
That's right. You ready? You ready to go to Elise, Rico?
Yes. Up next, the Hashanista herself. Midwest born and bred, but she spread her wings and flew all over the world, smoking weed, dabbing it up, and looking good doing it. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is, Elise McRoberts.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Rico. Thank you, everyone. It's nice to be here on a Thursday, filling in for Rochelle, who will be here for me tomorrow. We got a lot of swapping going on because we're like swingers on the High at 9 News Hour.
Oh, boy.
Oh, speaking of which, all right, my story today is from the marijuana moment. Schumer says great experiments with marijuana legalization by states have given Americans more freedoms. All right, states have carried out great experiments with marijuana legalization that have given Americans more freedoms, including conservative jurisdictions, Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says. As Schumer continues to push for cannabis banking legislation and a legalization bill he recently unveiled, the senator was asked on Wednesday whether there's a policy disconnect between his advocacy for marijuana reform and his call for a crackdown on the nicotine product Zyn. The majority leader didn't directly address the question, but said generally that the bottom line is that there have been great experiments in the states on legalization of marijuana. Crime hasn't gone up. Drug addiction hasn't gone up. People have more freedoms, he said. I think overwhelmingly the people support decriminalization. Even in conservative states, it's on the ballot. Look at Ohio, and it wins overwhelmingly, said Schumer. With respect to the Zyn-specific question, Senator John Fetterman criticized Schumer in January over what he views as a double standard with the proposed crackdown, referring to after the majority leader asked federal agencies to investigate the health impacts and marketing of the nicotine pouches that have been popularized on social media that he says appeals to youth. Social media, I like that. He opposes Schumer's position because of it's a matter of freedom and personal choices, drawing parallels to his reasons for supporting marijuana legalization. When I'm going to have a decision, I'm going to err on the side of more freedom and personal choices and those kinds of things, Fetterman said, and I made that same argument when I wanted to legalize marijuana. Schumer didn't weigh in on the Zyn aspect of the reporter's question on Wednesday, but he has repeatedly discussed his interest in advancing cannabis policy reform with the remainder of the session. Last week, for example, the senator signaled he's not giving up hope on attaching a marijuana banking bill to the must-pass aviation legislation. But Republican leaders in both chambers represent roadblocks for the reform. Schumer, Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, Senate Cory Booker, and a coalition of other Democratic senators also officially reintroduced the bill to federally legalize marijuana last week. That came one day after the Justice Department announced that it is moving to reschedule cannabis in a historic policy shift. Schumer also said last week that while the Drug Enforcement Administration's decision to propose marijuana rescheduling is a historic step forward, he remains strongly committed to advancing the cannabis banking and legalization legislation this session. Meanwhile, the White House on Wednesday declined to say whether President Joe Biden personally supports the Department of Justice cannabis reclassification plan following the review that he directed. So basically a story of stories here, and I think they just wanted the headline of, Schumer saying marijuana legalization giving American more freedoms. Would love to hear what my fellow correspondents think of this. I mean, is this even news? What do we want to pull out of this piece to talk about, as they did touch on, a couple different bills and pieces they're trying to get passed, as well as, other members in the Congress and where they stand. I don't know if we have to talk about the Zyn thing, but if you guys want to talk about nicotine, I'm here for it. This is Elise McRoberts, the Hashanista for High at 9 News. Giving it back to you guys.
Oh, man, Elise, Adam is holding up his Zyn. He is a big fan of the Zyn.
Shout out Zyn.
Man, shout out Zyn.
Sponsorship from Zyn. Okay, there's some money.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. That's funny. That's funny. I mean, so you agree that this is just nothing more than gaslighting the public, right, Elise?
Yeah, like when I was trying to pick a story today and looking at this, I was reading it and I reread it 3 times going, what's the story? What are we even talking about? It's kind of just, cherry picking old news and repackaging it for us.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel it's just more than the same. He's just trying to get that headline in, trying to make something sound cooler than it really is. And really, they're not doing anything. No thoughts, huh? Nothing, Stone?
No, not really.
Right.
I like the historic. What is it? The historic decriminalization, kick the can down the road plan that we got going on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Look at that. No thoughts on this, Tony? I already know your thoughts on shit.
I'm gonna get a pair of those librarian glasses.
I think that this is a case of what I just said earlier. People, they're picking it. There's a turn. It's your turn to be the bad guy. You just had a show the other day where you said it would take literally like 8 years for them to reschedule it under what Biden's directed or whatever the case may be. And even knowing that all it takes is for our legislative branch to go in, they already have all the data. They've already cleared over $20 billion. The beginning of the show, we talked about that. They already know the effects. They already know how we could go. They don't care. There is constant money even in confusion, because so as long as they can allow certain people to eat off of it in certain ways and they can still allow it to be criminalized so they can make money off of it through the criminal justice system, everybody's going to win. I just don't see this getting fixed this way, you guys. I don't have no faith in none of these people.
I feel you.
I'm all out of carrots, so I would have gotten one.
You're all out of carrots?
My guy.
You know,
All right. You ready to roll in?
You got your carrot today? You gonna dangle that? You gonna dangle that carrot?
No, look at it.
Yeah.
Little orange pen.
Oh, little orange pen. Look at that. You ready, Rico?
Oh my God. Y'all know who it is coming. Y'all know who it is coming up next. The most loved, hated, and feared man all in one. Coming to this stage. He is a Black Latin entrepreneur, a writer, an author, entrepreneur, politician. You know what you know who he is. Tony, Antoine, Montaga, Tucker.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rico. Thank you. Shout out to Adam. I appreciate the love.
Quench their thirst.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because somewhere around the world it is truly what time it is. On behalf of me and the rest of my co-hosts here, thank you very much for tuning in, you guys, and for having me here. To our fearless leader, sent to me, Jason Beck, and this is reported by the Associated Press. Thailand moves to outlaw cannabis again 2 years after it was decriminalized. Bangkok. The Prime Minister of Thailand, the first country in Asia to legalize cannabis 2 years ago, said Wednesday that he wants to outlaw the drug again, amid concerns that the lack of regulation has made it available to children and increased crimes. Prime Minister Saritha Thravishin wrote, I'm not even going to repeat that, I'm going to just say ST, wrote on the social media platform X that he had asked the health ministry to amend its list of narcotics to again include cannabis and issue new rules to allow its use for medical purposes only. Saritha also ordered local authorities to suppress criminal activities linked to the illegal drug trade and demand to see progress within 90 days. After cannabis was decriminalized in 2022, it was initially said that it would be allowed only for medical use, but in practice, the market was unregulated. It has prompt public backlash and concerns over misuse and crime. Decriminalization was spearheaded by the Bharatiya Party. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm sorry if I butchered it, and I don't mean to offend anybody, and we don't mean to offend anybody, but it's difficult for me to pronounce the name of this particular party, whose stronghold in the impoverished Northeast, where it promised farmers cannabis would be a new cash crop. In the 2023 election, all major parties, including that party I could not pronounce, promised to restrict cannabis for medical use. Cannabis advocates and entrepreneurs have opposed the radical rollback, which they claim would be damaging to the economy. Legal cannabis has fueled Thailand's tourism and farming sectors and spawned thousands of cannabis retail outlets, ranging from shops and trucks to market stalls all over the country. This comes from us at High at 9 News. We're going to kick it to everyone in the chat to tell us what you guys think out there. Is it too little too late that they want to bring back the Bangkok? Or should they go ahead and bring it back and make it illegal again? To the rest of my co-hosts here, tell me what you guys think.
I mean, to me, like, Thailand is already like, it's like LA and New York, and it's like, it's already so out there. It's going to be hard to put all that sand back in the ocean.
You can't put that glue back in the tube. I mean, it's like Oklahoma out there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the tenderloin out there on 10.
I think what they're ultimately going to do. I think what they're ultimately going to do is say that it's only medical, so then that way they have the optics for all the other Asian countries that they're only allowing medical, but they'll just like have some, because they're not really going to have the enforcement power. I don't think so. On a lot of people and whatnot.
Kids smoke cigarettes in the streets in Bangkok right now. They got lady boys out there doing.
He's saying he want to take it back to narcotic status, like straight up narcotic, and like seeing how the other Asian countries deal with offenders, drug offenders like that on narcotics. I fear for the people. Because, like, yeah, it's easy for us to say it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Over here in America, we don't have to fear getting beat down in public, caned. We don't have to fear getting the death sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like people get death sentences for shit like this over in Asia. That's what I fear for. We might be seeing that.
Yeah, but they're still allowing medical. They're still allowing medical, though.
I think the thing that will hinder it is the fact that tourism is important in Bangkok. That's where most of the money comes from tourism anyway. And if they see that there's a hit in tourism economically, I think that they might make it legal on only specific areas in Bangkok. Like maybe they'll do certain zones where if you're a tourist and you're over there, you can smoke it in the area if you're of age or something like that. And then maybe they'll regulate it for the rest of the land or something like that. But I just don't think that they're going to automatically dead it for tourists, because there are a lot of people who go out there for tourism.
Well, yeah, are they going to make the cookie shop or all these, dispensaries and California brands that I know have popped up there? Are those all now medical dispensaries, or do those businesses close? Or, how do they kind of redirect this market? Because it seemed like it definitely was the new Oklahoma out there, or New York.
To my understanding, you have to get a medical license from the government. From my understanding, I have a buddy that has a medical resort out there in Thailand, and that's what he was telling me in regards to. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. And you're right, Rico. They very well could bring those crazy harsh penalties right back, but I don't think that they're going to do that. But only time will tell, and we will continue to monitor.
This is an extreme example of it. Elections having consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also it's not different from what's going on here, as some think, with the rescheduling, and that if the rescheduling to 3 then requires companies to have an FDA license to put cannabis out, that would be changing things. And then in some places, how they want to crack down on enforcement and give harsher penalties for operating or cultivating just without a license. It's almost like we have our own issues of kind of going backwards here in this country.
Yep. Fair enough.
I pray for Thailand.
Pray for Thailand.
Go over there, get your own.
Pray for Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
They let motherfuckers get in the ring and fight to the death, but you can't smoke weed afterwards.
For real, you can kick a tree until you break every tree in the forest, but you can't go and just get some pot and get high and cool afterwards.
Get your Billy Blanks tie boho on.
Oh boy.
At least we could all get medical cards there from Jason Beck's homie, though, when we go.
That is true. That is true.
Right.
That is true. I have a feeling that they're going to let people self-certify medical, though, out there.
No, those cards will not be worth the paper they're written on, man.
No, they're just going to allow people to self-certify, just like like how they do in DC. Just walk in and be like, "Hey, I'm medical."
They're going to be scamming tourists for the cards. That means nothing.
This new dude, if he has not shown you anything, he's shown everybody that he is not about freedom, right? He is not about no freedom. And
I don't think Thailand ever claimed to be a free country, though.
I'm just saying, like, you think they're gonna let people just self-certify?
They haven't claimed to be a free country. Yeah, they don't have enough enforcement power to you know what I'm saying? They got other stuff to worry about.
We'll see. We will see.
Just saying.
I don't know. Stone Slade, what you got on this?
Man, I got my own boy. Oh, fuck.
No,
oh, sorry.
I
thought I was on mute.
We hear you, Stone. We hear you.
I got nothing, man. This all goes back to the man with the leaf blower cannabis machine fucking it up in the street, being the stupid American that's there fucking shit up for everybody.
Are you blaming it on cookies? No, man.
Blaming it on cookies.
That's where I'm going.
Blaming it on cookies. That's what I just saw.
Stone Slade is blaming it on cookies.
I didn't say cookies. I didn't say cookies.
You're blaming it on the individual, you're saying, not the corporation.
Yes, of course. Yes. We're all individually responsible for our actions.
I see what you did there, Jason. Bars. No final words on this one?
No, we're ready, bro.
All right.
We're ready. We're going to end on time today. Look at that, you guys. We ended on time today, man. Look at that, bro. Winning.
Nailed it.
Yes. Let's get it out of here. All right, so thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the big screen. Our live audience and online supporters catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective, your respected opinions to the table. 2, our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all our sponsors keeping the lights on, AV struggles to a minimum, and of course, Adam, he is back like he left something. Adam always in the background holding us down like a do-rag. I like to see you in a do-rag. Does do-rag fuck up the feathers?
Stop the cap.
Sound bars.
As always, Cannabis TV, the reason the High 9 News team reads these headlines every single day. Thank you to baby girl. It has been, what is it? Today, Thursday, May 9th, 2024. Show's over. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it was enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke it at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News, cannabis industry's #1 daily news show. Elise McRoberts, you got it today. What you got for these good people? Midwest, Queen, and worldwide.
Well, we're getting into summer here, so things are heating up. So it's just a reminder to keep it lit, stay away from the booth, stay active out there, be proud, healthy, and keep it safe. Much love.